All right, thank you. All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is 6:31, and we are going to open the January 17th, 2024. So welcome to the 2024 regular business meeting. We have a couple of changes we're going to do, but in the spirit of reconciliation, we'll begin with acknowledging the treaty territories of the people of Treaty 7. In southern Alberta, which includes the Blackfoot Confederacy, members Siksika, Kainai, and Kainai First Nations, the Stoney Nakoda, Bears Patch, Aniki, and Wesley First Nations, and the Dene of Tsuut'ina First Nations, and the Métis Region 3, and all those who call Treaty 7 land their homes. Tonight, the bathrooms in the back here are not working. So, right? I know, tax dollars at its best, can't even have operational bathrooms. So you're going to go out to the dumpster out on the left, right straight through the doors, past the dumpster and into that building. And in the basement over there, there's 2 bathrooms. Or are we on the main floor? So main floor, so you just go straight through that door, hang a left, go right to the end, and it's on the left corner. So that's if you need that. Exits, heat, windows. If there's a fire, jump out of either one. And we should be fine. All right. We have a small adjustment to the agenda. We are going to move 9.3, I believe. 9.3 or 9.1, sorry, which is the 2023 audit plan and finance report. So Mr. Vinchina, our finance officer, drove in from Calgary. So we're going to put him up at the forefront of this agenda right after question period. And we're going to have that presentation done and out of the way so we can send him home at a safe time. And I guess that would be a good time to ask questions of 8.5, the capital budget. So if there is any questions, that would be the time. Let's ask Vin, and then we'll still leave 8.5 where it is. And we'll come back for the council discussion on that. But if you have any questions on the capital budget of 8.5 agenda item, ask Vin when he's doing 9.1, the finance audit report, and then we'll roll from there.
How about my inquiry for the chargers? Vin was the one that gave me.
Do we have that in writing?
I have.
Okay, perfect. Excellent.
Wonderful.
All right. Sounds good. Okay, so 4.3 is going to be a finance audit report. That's where we're going to roll it. And grab that quickly. All right. Can I get a motion to agenda that agenda as amended? Good. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Adoptions of minute 3.1 for December 20th, 2023. Looks good. Councillor Martin gives us that. Any further comment, concerns? Good. All in favor? Excellent. Question period is a 15-minute section of time. Every council meeting we hold this for the public to ask questions of council. For general inquiries, you can ask any question you wish. You can contact the office, a councillor, you can email, text, smoke signal, however you want to get the information to council or administration, we'll take it. Have we received any questions in writing? If not, and any submitted tonight?
Not that I'm
Okay, excellent. Council admin inquiries are further in the agenda, so we'll address those at that time. So seeing none and having none, we will move on the agenda. Look at 6:35. There you go. 4.3. Mr. Finn, would you like to sit up front or are you good with your computer there?
Nope.
Okay, excellent. Just hit that microphone and we'll be fine.
Good evening, Council. So this is the draft 3 for the capital budget for the year 2024 as well as the 10-year capital plan. So from the previous draft, I have omitted a couple of line items and the rest everything is presented here. And I also created few columns to make sure that MSI, CCBF, LGFF and all that captured properly. And it is balanced with whatever the total amount is proposed for. And also I revised a little bit the reserve account, which is according to the capital 10-year budget, total capital 10-year budget plan. And that one is in the last page. Also updated the grant sheet, which is that is the last page, and second last will be reclassification.
There's any questions regarding the audit first?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Sorry, we can go with this, sure. Okay, fire away. Hazel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand, that Foothills, County, they give the town each year about approximately $100,000 towards the operation of the, rec center, or ORA, pardon me. So here's my question. Has administration reached out to Foothills, County, asking them for any funding to help with a refrigeration replacement?
I would like to refer that to Monique, if possible.
Thank you for the question through the chair, Councillor Martin. To the best of my knowledge, it has not. However, that has been discussed not through my department. I'd have to consult with the Craig Beaton, manager of operations, and we can report back the next time if there's any opportunity to do so in terms of obtaining some additional funding from them.
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Hazel, can you put that in an email form after the meeting and have that sent out?
That to Lynn and Manette.
Yep, and Craig.
Okay.
And CAO.
Okay.
Send it to CAO, just so it's in track and then it can be followed up with.
Let me do a motion.
Shouldn't need to. Yeah, you get it flown and we'll get that answer.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Gordon.
Yeah, it's in relation to what Councillor Martin has brought forward in the way that I understand something like this would be managed. So I would like to have an update on where we are with our ICF negotiations, because that has to be completed by April of 2024. So we're a few short weeks away from that and time will rush. So I would like to have an update. If our legislative services manager has an update, that'd be great.
I think she does, because I mentioned it to her earlier in the week and she said, I'm on it. So Verna, I'll hand it over to you to give us that update.
I believe your date is incorrect, but I will verify that for you. I believe we have until the end of the year to get it done. We have reached out. We need a committee bylaw. So I've reached out to Foothills County to kind of pick up where we left off pre-amalgamation and get that set up and running before our new CAO takes the seat, and then we can start having meetings when that person takes their job. And then they can dive into that first.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Verna.
Turning to the audit, the significant risk areas under risk assessment are there timelines of when these will be remedied?
So the auditors has given a plan which we agreed, which we already started the interim audit plan from December 11th, which is continuing now. And the field work is going to be from March 1st to March 15th. And the draft year-end statement planning in the month of April. And the risk assessment and all that umbrella will be covering under that particular.
So we can expect to update end of April on.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hazel.
One more question on the capital budget. Can you please remind me for the, speed radar signs and LED stop signs. So there's an amount of 17,000.
Yep.
Will some of those signs be used along Third Street Southwest? I see these two gentlemen here that were here a couple weeks back, and that reminded me to.
So I'm not 100% sure which areas are going to be this one, because that creates area.
After that.
Yeah, so, but we can give you an update.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, just a question, Vin, and for council as well, just to see how we feel about, this is on the capital. The transit vehicles, they have those marked to replace both of them in 2028. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't think we need two. And I'd like to have a bigger discussion if we need them at all. So that's $150,000 right there, 75,000 a piece for each of those vans. Yeah, I'll just leave it there. We take that off or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just if I may, because there's a couple of things I was questioning as well, like our CPOs were two vehicles at 130 grand each when it was just replaced. One was just replaced a couple of years ago for about 71,000, so that's a significant price. So when we're looking at the forecasted budget like this would be my question to pick up with Deputy Mayor. When we're looking at these items, they're, forgive me for using this term, but more or less it's a placeholder, correct? I mean, we don't know what the price will be completely, so we put this there. I don't want to be rude and say we're just plucking a number out of the hat, but basically it's a placeholder, correct? Yeah. Veronica.
I know capital budget, it was mentioned before the meeting started, but if we could get engineering structures, roads, sewer, First Avenue repaving, an infrastructure project.
Yeah.
Renamed, that we're going to be redoing First Avenue in its entirety from 4A Street to First Avenue Southeast.
Okay.
Just so the public is completely aware that
That's where it was.
the project is coming their way.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good catch, actually. Cindy?
Yeah, I just want to clarify, we're not doing motions now. We're gonna do them later in the agenda for this. It's just the questions. For the audit report, I guess, it's all standard. It looks good. My biggest interest is going to be how information is displayed from the previous years because they were separate. And I know it's something that's gonna have to be determined, you're gonna have to figure it out, but just know that, I just wanna say that I know I'm interested, and I know anybody looking at amalgamation is going to be very, very interested. And looking at these financial statements for years to come. So just keeping it on the radar, that's the best information we can possibly provide to make it. So you can really compare or add extra columns, so you have those separately and then together. I don't know what it looks like, but just figure out something that makes it useful, not just for us, but because the amalgamation was so unique, and other people will be studying it probably at the academic level. You want to make the financial statements clear.
Okay. Yeah.
That's, but otherwise looks good. And it was really clever idea for like the capital reserves to use, I don't know whose idea it was, super clever.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, thanks.
Okay, Hazel?
Just my last question. Councillor Thompson had asked us to inquire about the resident donations. So there's $26,000 sitting there. Where did that come from?
Here's that, I'm not 100% sure which year it is, however, I can have a look.
Okay,
And
okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Anything else on the budget? Yeah, come back to that. Yeah, for sure. Would you like to address the audit as well now?
yes, yeah.
Yep, I think that's it for questions for capital, and we will come back to 8.5 capital. We will make motions and we will accept and make revisions at that time. So let's go on to the audit.
So the auditor has provided us the audit plan for the first 2023 year for the town of Diamond Valley. And that the audit development covers the risk assessment, capital items, and the debt. The timelines are like interim audit already started from December 11th, and the field work supposed to be between the now for March 1st to March 15th, and the draft year-end financial statements in between April 2024. So from 1st to 30th. Presentation to the council is planning for April 17th tentatively, but I put as a, I told the auditors to put as April month in case if there are some changes or date difference. Presentation to the management letter to the town council again in April 2024. Issuance of independent auditors report in April 2024. So there are no much significant changes other than this is as a piece of information to the council.
So it's looking all clean. Yeah. Any comments from council? Cindy already kind of summarized hers. Yep, just one little small thing, the page 192 of 293. The CAO Todd Sharp did the old January 4th, 2023 when he signed it. So just make sure that says 2024.
Okay.
So just note that.
Yeah.
And have that changed.
Yeah.
Other than that, make that motion.
Just accept it as presented.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Thank you, Vin. Drive safe.
Yeah, thank you.
Head around.
Thanks for taking this one up first.
Yep.
Yeah.
No problem. You say that Jan out of here, right? Right. All right, statutory here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who just came in, the bathrooms here are not working. The lines are frozen, so if you need to, just go out that side door into the building, go straight ahead, hang a left, go right to the corner, and there's washrooms down there, or you just go in the basement, there's washrooms down there too. If you need. We are going to have a public hearing here for bylaw 2023-31, the textual land use bylaw amendment. So, opening hearing, here we go. I hereby declare the public hearing for bylaw 2023-31, textual land use bylaw amendment open at 6:50 p.m. January 17th. This public hearing is held pursuant to section 216.4 of the Municipal Government Act to hear representations from the public on proposed bylaw 2023-31. I am Mayor Barry Crane. I'm the chairperson for today's hearing. Will council please introduce themselves, starting from Councillor Gordon, heading down to Mark, please.
Yeah, Councillor Jonathan Gordon.
Councillor Brendan Kelly.
Councillor Veronica Flitter, Councillor Hazel Martin.
Thank you. And Councillor Thompson is away this evening. Will administration please introduce themselves, starting with acting CAO Vern Staples.
Thank you. My day job, I'm the ledge services manager.
There you go.
Vincenat, finance manager.
Good evening, Monique LeBlanc, Community Services and Recreation Manager.
Thank you. All discussions by council members, administrations, and speakers shall be directed to myself as the presiding officer. During the public hearing, we ask that you respect the views of everyone here and allow each person their time to speak without interruption. Each person wishing to speak will be given up to 5 minutes to make a presentation to council. I ask that you indicate if you are speaking on your own behalf, on behalf of another person or group of persons, or an organization. When you are finished speaking, please remain at the front, as council may wish to ask you some questions. This hearing will be carried out in an orderly fashion in accordance with normal parliamentary procedures. Ms. Staples, can you please confirm Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, planning and development manager Carrie Florzone is online
Ah,
here in today.
yes, thank you. Okay, excellent. Who else do we have online from staff? Anyone? While we're at it?
Yes.
That's it? Okay, all right, sounds good. Okay, all right, Ms. Staples, can you please confirm whether this public hearing, drive safe, whether this public hearing, has been advertised and notice given in accordance with requirements of the municipal government act?
It has been.
Right, thank you. Ms. Florzone, you are online, so we're gonna give you the floor. Can you please present your staff report and explain the purpose and the purposes of the proposed amendments, please?
Good evening, council. I am at home because of the roads. The bylaw in front of you, Verna, is it possible for me to get power to share my screen?
I can make that happen.
Give us a couple seconds. Or you can turn on page. Mine's feeling for.
Okay. Fantastic. You should see the request for decision in front of you.
Do not.
No.
We do not.
Interesting. Interesting. It says I'm sharing my screen. Interesting.
Oh,
If at first you don't succeed, try again. Perhaps,
control that.
perhaps now.
I am not seeing it.
Okay.
Should
Well,
we be looking at?
shucks. I love when it says I'm sharing and I'm certainly not, according to you guys. Okay. We will do the next best. We will do the next best thing then, I suppose. Verna, would you be able to open up the staff report accompanying the public hearing?
I can. This one moment, please.
Thank you.
Okay, she's on that. Give her a second. Brenda, you're gonna need to turn on the. You sound like a whisperer.
Okay. I know what it says.
Okay.
Sorry, Carrie, did you want the staff report?
Yes, please.
Here you go.
Well, this is very interesting because now I don't see your screen.
Oh, yeah, no, we gotta get this fixed then. Do you wanna sign back in, Carrie, and try and get this going? It'll take a
I
couple
could-
minutes, but it's better if you give it a shot because, yeah, technical
Yeah.
difficulties are more irritating than just giving it a try, you know what I mean?
I'll sign
Yeah,
back in.
okay,
2 seconds.
let's do that. Okay. All right, after some technical difficulty, we have a reinvigorated meeting here. We are now moving to our staff report. We have online Ms. Florzone. Can you please present your staff report and explain the purpose of the proposed amendment? Thank you. The floor is yours, Carrie.
Fantastic. Bylaw 2023-31 is a textual land use bylaw amendment to the former Town of Black Diamond land use bylaw to allow for mixed residential and commercial development on that parcel. Council gave first reading and we are now here for public hearing. The site is a vacant parcel located directly north of the Fast Gas. It's north of Highway 22 West. To the west is Annvale Park. To the north is Wilrich Park. And to the east is a single-family residential area zoned direct control 1. The Sheep River is also located approximately 60 meters to the northwest, and the lands are located within the flood fringe area. At the time of writing, the planning department had received 2 letters with comments, concerns, and recommendations. The property, it's a multi-stage process for people who might not be aware of the planning process. The direct control district that this property is currently zoned is DC6. This proposal is coming forward to change it from a solely residential apartment building that can be considered on the site to having commercial on the main floor. That change does require the approval of council, which is why we are here this evening. I'm not going to belabor a whole bunch that is in the report. The developer has been exceedingly cooperative, understands the requirements of our engineering specs of developing in the flood fringe area in accordance with provincial policy. And it does fall in alignment with the municipal development plan and falls just outside of the downtown area redevelopment plan. So it isn't a parcel in that area, but it does fit with the general nature of residential and commercial in the downtown area in which it resides. So the DC zoning amendment in front of you would change it again from a solely residential apartment building to a mixed use building with a maximum building height of 16.5 meters and 33. Oh, sorry, the current allows for 33 with 16. And I apologize, this is Denise's file. I am presenting while she is away. We have received a traffic impact assessment for the property, and it shows minimal impacts to First Ave. I know that that came up in the spring when this came forward as an amendment for the property to be redesignated as Central Business District. Again, the property owner is willing to do everything that's required for the flood mitigation, utilities, connectivity to pedestrian access. So at this time, we are recommending that council approve the DC6. And for the most part, we didn't receive any comments of concern from any of our circulation partners or internal partners. The predominant feedback was from the public with regards to First Ave, which planning is confident that the impacts of a solely residential versus a mixed use won't be demonstrably different. In addition, the TIA shows that the development in general won't make a large difference on First Ave. And I will stop there because I'm sure you'll have plenty of questions for me.
Okay, thank you. Council, you may ask questions of staff via the staff report at this time. Yep.
Questions.
Yeah, let me just have a look here first. I just want to find out where we're going. So just for the public, council's just saying, you know, we almost want to hear from you first, then we'll ask our questions to admin to address some of the questions that you might be bringing up. So I'm just seeing where in the preambles of first speak, second speak, third speak, last commissions, yada, yada. Okay, yeah, we can do it that way. Yeah, council at the end has an opportunity to ask more questions. So Kara, we're gonna keep you on right through the whole thing. You don't think you're getting away early. I will ask this though. I did read the engineer's report and I was actually surprised to see that the traffic assessment only came in as a 10%. So would you like to maybe just highlight how they came to that? I don't know if you can, but I mean, I could comment on it, but maybe I could save that for later as well, because that is one of the main concerns that the public brought was traffic. And it was clearly identified in the engineered report that 90% of the traffic would access through 4A Street versus First Ave. So I thought that was interesting. I also thought it was interesting that there's no lights required until what they say is 2044. I would be interested to see how they come up with that, because getting out of that parking lot is sometimes tricky enough right now. So I'm just curious, do we have indicators, traffic flow numbers that trigger the installation of lights, and what those numbers would be? That would be my only question at this time.
So to the mayor, on your question, there are standards within the traffic engineer's books. I cannot quote them an exact number for you, but there are basically levels where intersections are deemed to fail. And there are standards with regards to different types of developments and where that traffic would take its preferential direction. I believe in this case, most of the traffic was identified on 4A because it gets you to the highway and somewhere faster than going down First, which is a low-speed residential road.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on, and we will have questions further in the public hearing. All right, council, if you have no further questions, I'm going to move on to applicant presentation. If the applicant is present, and I don't see him here, so you do have 20 minutes to make a presentation. Kerry, I'm assuming he's not here and he hasn't indicated anything to you in terms of a presentation he would like to make.
I haven't personally had communications with the applicant.
Okay, Vernon, same question. Okay, excellent. Seeing no applicant, we will continue with the application that's presented as if. Council may ask questions following that presentation. Seeing none, we will continue on. Written submissions, Ms. Staples, has the town received any written submissions not included in the staff report? And if so, I would ask that you have those read aloud and entered into the record.
We have received 3 following publication
All
of
right,
the agenda. And I spoke with Ms. Floresville. She asked that I read them here in the room rather than online.
yeah, if you could hit a microphone, if you can. Make a difference.
Not sure.
All right, we'll let you read those out.
Okay, we have one from a Ronnie Langert on Willow Ridge Close. Dear members of the Diamond Valley Town Council, I'm writing to express my concerns about the proposed development at Civic Address 415 4A Street Northwest, legally described as Lot 29, Block 2, Plan 00111777 by the applicant 172948 Alberta Ltd. Number 1, floodplain development and impact on surrounding neighborhood. The proposed site is located in a floodplain area that was severely affected by floods of 2013. The development could potentially exacerbate future flooding events and put the surrounding neighborhood at risk. It is crucial that any development in this area takes into account the potential for flooding and includes robust flood mitigation measures. 2, increased traffic congestion. The area is already experiencing significant traffic congestion. The proposed development without a comprehensive traffic management plan could further exacerbate this issue, affecting the quality of life for residents and potentially causing safety concerns. 3, the need for additional green space. The proposed site could be better utilized as a green space for community events or activities. Green spaces are vital for the health and well-being of residents, providing opportunities for recreation and fostering a sense of community. In addition to these points, it is important to note that the development process should be transparent and inclusive, addressing the concerns of residents. It is essential that the applicant and the council consider the long-term impacts of the development on the community and the environment. I urge the council to reconsider the proposed development and explore alternative uses for the site that would benefit the community and preserve the character of our neighborhood. Thank you for your attention to these concerns. Then I have one from a Bryce Letkeman. To the town of Diamond Valley, it has come to my attention that you are opening up the conversation again about the development at the west end of First Avenue Northwest. First off, it's incredibly frustrating that this is being proposed exactly the same way after many of us had shared our concerns. Our concerns were heard, discussed, and decisions were made. Now it's happening again. It seems like our voices aren't being heard. That being said, here are my concerns in no particular order with this development. One, that land is flood zoned. This is going to cause more problems if and when it floods again. Two, the traffic increase is going to be an issue. My children have nowhere to play out there because people fly around that corner coming out of AG Foods and Fast Gas. They do not stick to 30. In fact, in the summer, people generally do 50+ kilometers per hour down our street. Is it going to take my kid or one of the many others out there to get hit before something changes? We already have no sidewalk and now you want to increase traffic. On a side note, no matter what, the end of our road needs to be turned into a cul-de-sac. 3, the light that already comes in from the parking lot on the other side of Fast Gas is bad enough. Now you want to increase light coming into our homes from this parking lot. It's already frustrating. 4, this is not even mentioning the property value will drop because of the proximity to our homes. And then I have one from Joe Clary. To whom it may concern, I'm writing to express my strong opposition to the proposed development on subject lands. Civic address 415 4A Street Northwest, legal land description, lot 29, block 2, plan 0011777. Applicant 172948 Alberta Ltd. I'm disappointed that 1 year later, after all the meetings and conversations with council, I received in the mail the exact development plan from January 2023. There were none of the proposals by council or concerned citizens addressed in any way in the package. To this date, I have received no communication from anyone at the town addressing my concerns. At this point, it's clear that a cookie cutter copy and paste approach will not achieve any of the desired results. I am a resident of 430 First Avenue Northwest, and I have the following concerns about the project. Traffic. The development will increase the traffic volume and congestion in the area, especially during peak hours. This will create safety hazards for pedestrians, cyclists, and drivers, as well as noise and air pollution. The existing road infrastructure is not adequate to handle the additional heavy traffic load of vehicles and pedestrians. There is currently no sidewalks on First Avenue Northwest to facilitate the safe movement of pedestrians. After living here for 11 years, I can assuredly say that the speed at which the majority of drivers pass by my house is not the posted 30 kilometers per hour. Stormwater management. The development will increase the amount of impervious surface on the site, which will reduce the infiltration and retention of stormwater. This will increase the risk of flooding, erosion, and water pollution in the area. The development will also affect the natural drainage patterns and hydrology of the site and its surroundings, as its proximity to the river make it unsuitable for any development. The development will not provide sufficient stormwater management measures to mitigate these impacts. No environmental impact assessment has been done. This site has been assessed using outdated flood mapping 1992. The current updated map 2023 is not available, but should be the standard used for any decision regarding development in the River Valley moving forward. The following section of the land use bylaw 8.3.3A reads, no building or structure adjacent to the Sheep River shall be sited outside the 1 and 100 year flood delineation as established by the Canada Alberta Flood Damage Reduction Program 1992 and as specified in section 8.21. Light pollution. The development will introduce artificial lighting that will interfere with the natural darkness and visibility of the night sky. This will affect the quality of life and health of the residents in the area, as well as the aesthetic and cultural values of the neighborhood. The development will not comply with the dark sky guidelines and standards for outdoor lighting. Property value decrease. The development will adversely affect the character and amenity of the neighborhood, which will lower the property values of the existing homes. The development will not be compatible with the scale, design, and style of the surrounding buildings and streetscape. The development will also create visual clutter and obstruction of the views for residents. We feel this development infringes upon Land Use Bylaw 9814, section 3.56, 3.57, affecting the use, enjoyment, or value of the neighboring parcels of land. I urge you to reject the proposed development and preserve the integrity and livability of our neighborhood. The path forward for our new town has to include responsible actions by all involved. Reactive development and planning cannot and has not benefited any persons living in Diamond Valley in any way today. I appreciate your consideration of my objections, and I hope you will act in the best interests of our community.
Thank you. All right. At this point in the hearing, I will call upon anyone wishing to speak on the proposed bylaw. Please note that each party wishing to speak will have only one opportunity to do so. If you are speaking and have already provided a written letter, please summarize your concerns. Council members may ask presenters questions for the purpose of clarity with the speaker's comments. Council will not debate this matter as it is a hearing, and the decision regarding whether to grant the bylaw further readings will be dealt with later in the agenda. So actually next on the agenda or at a subsequent meeting if deemed necessary. At this time, I would ask administration if anyone has registered or signed in to speak to the bylaw.
I'm not aware of anyone.
All right. At this time, I would ask if anyone present who has not yet spoken would like an opportunity to speak to the bylaw. If so, please come forward to the microphone in the center, hit the red button, state your name and address and your concerns. Let's got their letters in, right? I will ask administration to verify that there are no further written submissions received. Okay. Have all speakers been heard to the best of your knowledge, Ms. Staples? Yeah, absolutely. Up to the center.
Just a quick one. I just noticed no clarity.
Yep.
30%.
Yep.
I
To microphone.
just noticed when we were talking, I was reading the report that they had up there that part of their mitigation, I guess, was that a 6-meter fence was allowed. But, you know, a 20-foot fence beside my house, 4 meters away, I don't think that is. I'm just asking, like, that's what their recommendation is as far as mitigation for light pollution stuff is a 20-foot fence. My comment or question is just like, do we think that is responsible? Do we think that is acceptable?
Excellent. Ms. Swarzone, is that correct? 6-meter fence, is that what's proposed? Or is that a typo? Or is that the mitigation that's proposed in front of us to deal with light pollution?
I'm not sure about the particulars of the development itself, as this is an amendment, and then the development particulars will be brought forward to council for approval at a later date when we have those specifications down. The textual amendment does say that a solid fence must be provided between the site and nearby adjacent residential developments, and that the maximum fence height would be 6 meters.
That's supposed to be feet.
Yeah, I thought
6
we had a
meters is
maximum
outrageous, yeah.
fence height of 50 feet in town, so that's.
They've already got to build up 2 meters. Even 6 feet on top of 1.2 meters.
Yes, no, 6 feet is normal. 6 meters is,
It's a time.
that's a driving theory. Yeah, so I think there's a typo there.
So page 20 of 293 on the agenda is where I'm seeing that.
Yeah, I read it too.
Yeah. I just translated into 6 feet, 2 meters.
I believe the 6 meters
So charge
is
the
supposed to be
addition.
6 feet.
It is, right?
Yeah.
Just curious.
Yeah, no, it's a good catch.
Yeah.
We'll change that.
Okay, thank you. Carrie, I do have, council, if I can ask 2 questions. Ms. Staples, in Mr. Clary's letter, the first 2 points that he referenced, 8.3.3A and 8.21. Could you reread those? And Carrie, could you listen to these concerns, 8.3.3A and 8.21? And I'd like some comment on where we sit with those. Well, that's why I want this reread from Ms. Staples. So I want clarity on these 2 particular points to find out where they sit and how they're being mitigated, if that is indeed the case.
Sure.
She's gonna read it and then, oh, she's gonna read it.
The current updated map, 2023, is not available. Sorry, we were talking about flood mapping. This site is being assessed using outdated flood mapping 1992. The current updated map 2023 is not available, but should be the standard used for any decision regarding development in the River Valley moving forward. The following section of the land use bylaw, 8.3.3A reads, no building or structure adjacent to the Sheep River shall be sited outside the 1 in 100 year flood delineation as established by the Canada-Alberta Flood Damage Reduction Program 1992 and as specified in section 8.21.
Could you speak to that, Carrie? Is that, do we have a 2023 100-year map, or do we have the 1992? What are we using?
We do not have updated flood mapping released from the province of Alberta. So under our policies and bylaws, we must use what is currently in force and published by the province, which is not the updated mapping that we've all been anticipating coming online last year. It still has not been finalized.
Okay, so then does this meet all the requirements then of what we need to move something forward?
Through the mayor. Again, this is not a development permit application. It's a textual amendment to the district that would allow the application for a development permit. Again, the applicant to this point has been exceedingly cooperative in whatever we need him to do, he is willing to do. He came before you last spring and stated that fact then as well. And I haven't had any dealings that would indicate otherwise. So if we say you need to raise the land to this and put flood mitigation in your building to this, I sincerely believe that is going to happen. And there are mechanisms in place through the development permit process at that stage that we take security. We don't release occupancy. We have, stop orders if it came down to it to ensure compliance with those regulations.
Okay, thank you. Council, questions? Councilor Kloiber.
I have a few, and they do pertain both to the development process and our application, which I know is not before us, but this is a lead-in. So in Black Diamond's land use bylaw, I have a few questions. It says some of these terms weren't defined. High watermark was not defined. Design flood level not defined, and designated flood level not defined. And I went through the MGA, they aren't defined there either. I did not have time to go through any other acts. Can you tell me if they can be defined by in a generic way?
So through the chair, those are elevations that are provided from the provincial flood mapping.
So I would have to go find the provincial flood mapping, the 1992 version, because it says there's a 30-meter setback for buildings at 30-meter setback from the high water mark. And I lived through the 2013 flood, and I'm just not clear what the high water mark would be. It was pretty high.
Sure. Do you
by basement.
through the chair, do you have the section that you are asking for
Yes,
clarification on?
Black Diamond Land Use Bylaw 8. I have a lot of tabs open. 1 second. 8.21 land subject to flooding.
Mhm.
High water mark is 8.213 bracket A. And the reason I'm so fascinated by this floody business is because I did own property on First Avenue Northwest, and I have survivor's guilt because we just didn't flood. It was very close, but my neighbors all flooded.
Okay. Sorry, 8.21,
Three bracket.
3.
Yeah, under general regulations in the flood risk area,
Mhm.
all buildings shall be set back a minimum of 30 meters from the high water mark of the Sheep River.
And again, because I'm not evaluating a structure on a property at this point, I don't have any further specifics to share with you of where that delineation would be.
All right, and I know when I was looking at the land use bylaw earlier today, the thought crossed my mind that this might not be entirely pertinent at this juncture, but it sort of is. They do go hand in hand. And then, just further to that, we need to get the applicant to provide geotechnical reports. Impact on proposed site alterations or flood risk area and overall river regime is what the land use bylaw states. So if, just putting it out there, there are going to be quite a few stipulations on this parcel.
And through the mayor, that would be a requirement of the development permit.
Okay, Councillor, are you satisfied, Clark?
Yeah.
For now, good, okay, Councillor Holiday.
I don't know if, I don't think any of us were on council when the original DC got built. Were you okay? Yeah. So I guess my struggle is that we're not talking about, you know, having a building there and not having a building there. The discussion is whether 33 unit, I think 54-foot tall building is better than a commercial mixed residential 32-foot tall building, right? That's like, really, if he wanted to go with the original direct control tomorrow, as long as he meets all of the engineering and technical requirements, there is nothing preventing him from doing a 33 unit, 54-foot tall building on the site. Correct? Am I correct? Council, otherwise we end up in land use tribunal, right? If he meets all of the requirements of the original DC, like, there's nothing to stop him from building that.
So
Oh, it's not appealable, but if he
Through-
meets
through
all
the-
the
Yeah,
Like,
through the
go ahead,
mayor,
Tracy.
that is a mostly correct assumption. Yes, it is still direct control. Council is the decision-making authority. Your decision would be final and non-appealable. The challenge is if he comes in and meets everything that's required of him under the land use bylaw and that DC, and you still say no, then it could be interpreted as a constructive expropriation. And I would advise against going down that path.
Yeah, Canmore did that. Yeah, if you want, I'm gonna go to Councillor Gordon, but we're gonna have you just explain what constructive expropriation. Thank you. Hit it, Carrie.
Yes, certainly. Thank you, Mayor, for giving me an opportunity to expand on that. Sometimes it's called constructive taking, de facto expropriation. Expropriation is the ultimate expression of municipal authority over real estate. Expropriation can occur when a municipality requires land for a public purpose. In a constructive expropriation, it is when there is a regime in place to limit the productivity functionality of the land, especially in the case where there's a private landowner. And often that constructive expropriation is done through policy, which is why I am throwing up my huge caution flag.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Gordon.
Yeah, so carrying on this discussion of this constructive expropriation and Councillor Holiday. Hypothetically, if council were to say no to the proposed textual amendment as seen right here, that does not open the door for constructive expropriation because we're not amending the land use bylaw, correct?
That is correct. Typically with all planning matters, as Councillor Holiday very keenly pointed out, the matter that is essentially before you is the land better suited in its current zoning as an apartment, or is it better suited to have some commercial uses mixed in with it? That is basically what's before you today to decide the merits of.
Well, thank you so much. That really clarified it for me where we're sitting.
Yes, exactly. Thank you very much. That gives us good fodder for the conversation. Councillor Kleiber.
So further to my original questions. The original proposal of a 33 unit residential was at 16.5 meters. And this new proposed building would be the same height, correct? It'd be less. All right, so current building 16.5 meters. But we cannot determine at this time how much fill needs to come in to satisfy the requirements of the land use bylaw for flood fringe construction, correct?
Through the chair, I do not have that number at this time.
So we know that at minimum it will be 16.5 meters, but can assume it will be, we need at least half a meter of freeboard above the design flood level, which we do not know, and we will not know until the development permit stage. So best guess is it will be at minimum 17 meters above the current level of the land at this time, correct?
Through the chair, if I may, the current height requirement would also be after any fill and freeboard. And so the ultimate building height of the 10 meters would still be lower than the apartment at 16.5.
Thank you. That adds good clarity as well. Okay. So what she just said there, just so everyone's clear, is right now, if you wanted to build a residential unit, it's there at 60 feet. This is proposed down here at 40, give or take. I'm just exaggerating the numbers just to give you an idea. Okay, council, further questions for clarity?
Yeah, I'll throw an easy one out there if I can.
Sure, please do.
Carrie, because this is outside of the downtown area redevelopment plan that was accepted prior to amalgamation, would those same rules apply if this were to go through with the new build because it is outside? Or would that be something that we would have to request?
The parcel is not currently part of the downtown plan. If you would like it included in that boundary for the plan, it would be an amendment to that area redevelopment plan.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Holiday. That'd be another.
Yeah, and I can't remember whose, I don't have my screen dead. The people, some of the residents are talking about cul-de-sac on First, like, which I don't understand how that would work, but I would, yeah, if you know the answer, how, because I know it gets complicated with fire truck turnarounds and all sorts of things, so, yeah.
I'm gonna allow that one at this time because you're here to answer that. I didn't want to get into a debate on where that road was looking, so yeah, let's go there. So Carrie, please do answer that one.
Okay, so through the chair, I just want to add a little piece of context that I think kind of fits in here with regards to additional traffic. The property was amended to DC 6 back in 2007. It was originally R3, and council of the time agreed with the landowner that there should be more density on this site, which is how we ended up with the current apartment DC6. There was discussion at that time to make a cul-de-sac on First. With the capital project that is proposed for First, all the way from 4A and down to the east, that will improve the road surface. It will add in sidewalks. I'm already working with Craig to get the public notification package and how the construction's going to progress for people to access their homes during that construction phase. And so when I hear this talk about the cul-de-sac, it is, I think, outside of that capital project, more understandable, but with that capital project coming into play, I think a lot of the concerns that we're hearing in those letters have been alleviated.
Thank you, and that's what we'll discuss that during the next phase of the agenda, the debate period, the merits of that construction. So thank you for adding that. Excellent. Okay. Any more questions? See notes? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Traffic impact assessment, Carrie. Curious because we're planning on redoing this road this summer. How does that assessment account for the potential of new transports going down it? Because it's not a super desirable road right now. You put a brand new sleeve of pavement on there and then all of a sudden the transport trucks are starting to use a greater portion of that. I'm concerned long-term about an impact on that road. Would we see any of that?
Through the chair,
That's what I want.
I don't imagine we will. It doesn't make a lot of sense to go up one residential road, down another residential road into a site where you can just go up 4A. Council could choose to put additional restrictions on that stretch of road. The fact that it's getting a new pavement on it would not affect the TIA, to my understanding. Putting sidewalks on it may impact the TIA and actually make it less desirable to drive down. And then with regards to speeding and that kind of nature, that isn't really the fault or anything of the developer. That would be a traffic calming, road design, municipal enforcement, ongoing challenge that the municipality has to grapple with.
Okay, appreciate that. Just a quick follow-up, because I don't drive a transport, I never have, and I don't exactly know how trucks would enter or exit that site. Because it's on a corner, I just thought that there may be some, if a truck drives in there one day entering from the fast gas side and says, hey, it's a lot easier for me to drive from the adjacent road if I enter the other way because of the turning radius or however the building's laid out. That's my concern. It's not necessarily that it would be, super desirable, but from a trucker's point of view, I see a lot of truckers come through Black Diamond when it may be easier to, go up through High River, but for whatever reason, they decide to go through our community. So that was kind of my sticking point. I don't know how that works. So because we don't know the exact layout of the development, I just don't know how the trucks would look at it and say, hey, this makes a lot more sense if I enter from the other street.
Go ahead, Carrie.
So through the chair, that's exactly what I was going to say next is at the development permit stage, we do require truck turning radius templates to be shown on the site from the access. Typically it's our fire truck or a garbage truck, but it works in very much the same capacity and we can ask for any turning template to be shown how it will enter and exit the site based on the proposed access points.
Thanks, Gary.
All right, thank you. Councillor, any further questions or comments, concerns, clarity? Gary, thank you very much for all your answers. I'm gonna just continue on to the next phase here. Closing hearing. I would like to thank all of those who have spoken and provided submissions for their comments. Council will take your comments into consideration when deciding on this matter. That said, I declare the public hearing for bylaw 2023-31 closed at 7:54 PM, January 17th, 2024. All right, thank you, Carrie. You could probably sit around. We might have some questions as we go into our debate now. So, where am I? What do you need here? Yeah, where to go? Excellent, thank you. All right. 5.1 is complete. Moving on to 7.1. So now we will go into our debate portion. 7.1 bylaw 2023-31 textual land use bylaw amendment. So to lead this off, we just had our public hearing. We asked our relevant questions. Now would be the time to debate anything that we want to actually get into some discussion on, be it cul-de-sacs, be it road widths, sidewalks. I will start off with the upgrade so that the public is aware. The capital projects budget that we're looking at again tonight has a $3 million upgrade that goes from First Street, where this development starts, all the way up to Government Road. And that's a full water, sewer, sidewalks, both sides of the road, new pavement, the whole 9 yards, as it were, for that development. So there's implications just in that construction that meet a lot of the traffic concerns, safety concerns, pedestrian concerns. Those are going to be met through that construction as well. So as you hear us debate, keep that in mind, that we're making some of those assumptions now as that work has already begun on a template. So with that being said, council, debate, where do we want to go? Motion, yes, no, direction. Floor is open. Councillor Holiday, lead us off.
I just do want to mention that because Heather's gone tonight, she won't be able to be part of this decision moving forward,
That's right.
which means that a 3-3 vote is a failed vote. Just wanted to bring that up that we, because I have a feeling this could be a close one. For me, it felt unfortunate that it seemed to be a lot of the comments that we were getting in were kind of the merits of having something built there versus not having something built there, but that's not the issue. The issue is whether what was approved before versus what's being asked for now, which one's better. And I am completely on the fence. I actually don't know. And I was hoping that we would have more public clarity tonight. We've just got the letters to go from. Cause yeah, sidewalk coming up from the main street to the development, that's super critical for me. I really don't like the idea of somebody's house having all the parking stalls on the east side. You know, people pulling in with their lights. Yes, there's a fence, but I don't know. Like, the reason I liked the residential before was because that's usually in land use, you have your commercial district, you have your multifamily, and then you have residential, and that's kind of how it worked before. So to add the commercial in, it really depends on what store, but you can never guarantee because that can change forever after. So I'm completely at a loss on this one, and I don't know how to answer this.
Excellent, thank you. Councillor Clover.
I'm glad I'm not alone. Yeah, best case for me would be it was purchased by the town and turned into green space. Doesn't seem to be like the way things are going. In retrospect, it should have been purchased with our flood mitigation dollars and turned into an extension of the, I'm going to say it, the plop and drop where the buses go and the parking lot exists. 10 meters plus freeboard and land buildup is better than 16.5. But I really don't like the look of these businesses on pillars that we are putting in because of flood mitigation and the flood fringe. So I really don't know what to do either. I wish I could turn back to it. Now that song will be stuck in your head.
Thank you. Just want to go, Councillor Gordon.
Yeah, I appreciate fellow councilors' hesitancy here. I think what swayed it for me was the potential for constructive expropriation. If we move down this path of allowing the textual amendment, then we open up either this council or further councils to be accused of constructive expropriation. That swayed it for me. There was a reason we weren't part of that discussion, and that was a previous council that moved this to DC6 with residential use only, for R3 being allowed. Cindy, you highlighted that. That's a great buffer from an industrial to a multi-res to single family. Veronica, you hit the nail on the head, in my opinion. It because of the area, the flood fringe that it's upon. I look at the flood mapping, even though Alberta has not released and made it part of the regulation, 100-year flood, that's covered. The wetlands butts rains. So once that is released, according to federal regulation, certain height requirements have to be met, which are exceeded in the current measurements, because that would be 1 in 75. So that we're basing a lot on hypotheticals. So for that very reason, I actually have made my mind up on that one.
Schreiber?
Well, then on that point, it is actually better to construct it right now because it will be lower by quite a bit. Land won't have to be built up quite as high for 1 in 75 or 1 in 50. So they only have their 2 1 in 50 and 1 in 100 on their current flood mapping interactive map. But yeah, it still doesn't count. I don't know what to do.
Councillor Martin? Oh. Verna wants to comment on your height restrictions.
No, actually, sorry, during the technical difficulties, Councillor Thompson did join the meeting.
Oh, so she's watching.
She's here and online and available. She's been here for the whole public hearing.
Oh, wow, very well. Sorry, Heather, we never asked you your comments, and that's okay. Well, I've got, I'll weigh in. I've got mixed senses on this one. I agree, would have been nice to have it just purchased, sure, and turned into a field, but that's not the case. Someone owns it. And I would reference Canmore as a good example of what can happen when things go sideways, when you constructively get in the way of a developer. The developer in Three Sisters actually sued down back and won. They got everything they wanted and then some. That being said, I look at this as right now it's approved for residential. Plain and simple, they can have 60-foot, 33 units. And with that, I look at it mathematically, no one has 1 car anymore. Minimum gonna be 2 cars per, so there's 66 cars right there. Probably more when you take in a couple of extra bedrooms. So now you're increasing a lot of traffic 24/7. The height is an issue for residents. I totally would get behind that. 60 feet being excessive. So here we have an option for something that gives us less height, using the flood mapping that we presently have versus what the government's going to propose would, as Councillor Schreiber said, actually bump that higher. So right now is the get in time. And if we actually go ahead and have commercial, we have the ability to limit the operational times that those businesses can be open. So it is an option under a DC that we say 6 o'clock, it's closing up time. So you don't have after hour traffic flowing through, which was also a recommendation pointed out by some members of the public that was an ability. And we also had the applicant in the room at that time who was amenable. And as Kerry said, he is very amenable to most things. The business has proposed liquor store, a barber shop, a dollar store. Where was the other one? Daycare's probably over there. So in principle, you know, when you look at your options, I would support this one rather the residential. I think residential would create more issues in the area. terms of traffic and volume and getting out in the morning, that would be a traffic nightmare, in my opinion. But it's a double-edged sword, because we need more residents and we need density. So this to me is the lesser of the two. So I would support that, for those reasons. I had some other tidbits. They're kind of gone now. Oh, the parking. I do not like the parking. We pointed it out a million ways to Sunday that we do not want parking.
Yeah, absolutely.
At the
Are you
residence.
gonna want some more? Are you gonna want more?
Heather, we can hear you.
Oh, sorry.
Cracking a bottle of whiskey there, no.
No,
So,
I'm
one of the
eating.
things- You're supposed to be muted. One of the things that we were very clear about, and that I would ask, if this were to move forward, that there be no parking stalls on that residential east side. That needs to be buffered by fence and trees, bushes, whatever, but that was one of the things, that's a sticker for me. So, if it moves forward, that's something that I would want to see adjusted. And if that means the building shifts, then fine, whatever. But that would be something that I would want dealt with. As far as traffic concerns, as I mentioned, we're doing a full rebuild from first all the way, 4A, all the way up. Sidewalks both sides, new street, new curb. So I think on that level, pedestrian safety is taken care of. And maybe we look at some, speed bumps would be my other thing that, would turn that 50 Ripper into a 30 for sure. And so that's it for me. So in principle of the two, I would support this one. I don't believe that nothing is an option. So that's my thought. Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, it's kind of the, like, if nothing were an option, I think Councillor Kloiber mentioned, if we could go back in time and change this, obviously we'd be looking at this through a completely different lens. It's difficult to please everybody in a situation like this when we look at a building that could be potentially 20 feet higher, that's strictly residential, where you're gonna have over 50 vehicles. Opposed to 10 units where there might be 20 plus. I don't want to say, unfortunately, the lesser of two evils. It's just a situation where if we deny this and that land goes up for sale, you're still looking at the potential of a huge building going in there. So I've been back and forth with this for months. I'm still going back and forth with it right now. Carrie's offered a lot of clarity and council's had some good discussion here, and I appreciate all the public input as well. I'll just leave it at that for now. Maybe Heather has some points.
Heather, we would definitely look forward to your comments here.
Thank you. It's a complicated situation, and we as council, being the authority here, and we've asked the developer to do a lot of things. I don't mind the commercial residential use of it, as long as there's lots of strict stuff that go in the development permit. And I think that Carrie has heard us and has heard the residents on that. And so I'm good with moving forward with this. I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Carrie?
And I'm not too stoned.
Thank you. She did have surgery. That's good. Too funny. Carrie, go ahead.
Through the chair, if I may have a few follow-up comments on some things I heard in
Yes,
your
please.
various statements. Again, I would caution council from restricting hours of operation in a development permit. The point of land use regulations is to regulate land use, not business operations. The report was written before I had the opportunity to attend the Economic Development Advisory Committee meeting last week. It was, I think, really productive, and something that I brought up and was agreed upon from my understanding is that the town lacks a lot of commercial and industrial space. We lack a lot of employment lands. The proximity to downtown, to me, is a natural fit to increase some of that non-residential assessment, but also just the ability for people to have jobs in our community. In terms of the one day maybe approved flood mapping, updated flood mapping from the province, if we're looking at limiting development on this site, I would again be telling council that likely my department will then be coming forward with a lot of amendments to plans that would drastically limit development in almost our entirety of our historic neighborhoods, including the former Black Diamond Council building, the town administration building. And so if we're looking at a future home for our administration staff and looking at possibly doing construction, renovations, additions onto that building, by your own rules, you might be eliminating that possibility. And the commentary about parking with the residential, I don't think it was brought up in the reports that the mixed use actually has an opportunity to share. Typically, they will be off peak from each other. So when the people in the residences are home, business is closed. And when people are at the business, residents are away. So there might actually be an opportunity to reduce some of the parking requirement if that's a concern of how the land's being used because of that shared approach.
Okay, one follow-up from Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, I think one of the big things, Carrie, there with in regards to the parking was the need for some like mature trees along that access road there. And we're not talking like 5-10 year trees, probably like 15-20-year-old trees, like some real nice trees there that would really reduce that ambient light that would be coming off the vehicles. I did have a question in regards to your comment about commercial space, and this is more of a general question, maybe not just pointed at you. We have quite a few, and this, if anyone on council, Barry, you might know this as well. Is all of our commercial space up by Rona presently occupied? Is that all booked right out? Like there's nothing up there that's released currently? Like no vacant bays, or
There's some vacant bays, yeah.
okay, just curious about the need for commercial space when, like, I constantly see ads up for availability up there, so I am a bit, yeah, skeptical in regards to the absolute need for more commercial space.
Okay. Yep, I'm gonna look for a motion now. I think we've talked enough. I don't have anything in front of me in terms of a motion. Hold on, I'm gonna put it out there. I am gonna put the motion out. The council gives second reading to bylaw 2023-31. There's a live on the floor. Council, any further discussion? Now is the time to ask any questions. Councillor Gordon.
Yeah, I'm gonna refer back to historical data.
Heather, can you mute your dishwasher? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Mayor Crane mentioned the challenges that Canmore Council has faced. And the reason they faced such a challenge was that years ago, they approved the development. And then currently, this current council went back on what was previously approved. And therefore, when it was appealed, they had to go by regulation. And allow for the development to go forward. So if we're gonna use that as an illustration, I think that gives substance to my concern about constructive expropriation. Because if we approve this now and then put several hurdles in the development permit, we could be putting a constructive expropriation barrier in front of it. So that is the caution that I don't want to entertain. So for that reason, I'll be voting against giving this second reading because there is currently an allowance of DC6 with residential.
Okay. Thank you. Any further comments? You can totally, if you feel the need, you can make your comment and you can declare how you're gonna vote. That's totally fine. Same way Councillor Gordon did, that's totally fine. Councillor Alday.
Clarify, you're saying that you don't support the change, you prefer the 33 unit.
So let me clarify.
Okay,
Based on the potential of constructive expropriation through the barriers that we have discussed through a development application and a permit that Ms. Florazone has recommended we exercise caution about. For that reason, it's not the time for us to move forward and approve this. There's on the table ahead of us a 100-year mapping that already has been produced. Diamond Valley is not alone in not liking what they see. It's on the table. At our recent AB meetings, I attended a portion of the meeting was about the flood mitigation led by a engineer in the city of Edmonton. Brilliant session that I was part of, looked at different mitigations, looked at different ways to support development in flood fringes. And because that flood zone was getting ready to move forward and then into the federal regulations being added to that, now is not the time. I think we could be hamstringing further council the way Canmore did and moving fast forward. That's my thought. It's not that I don't approve, or it's not that I am against the commercial. We need commercial. I've heard that loud and clear. We need opportunities. I've heard that loud and clear. The commercial pieces that are being brought forward are not necessarily what I've heard, not what the Economic Development Committee has heard either. But at the same time, commercial is commercial. My concern in all of this is the constructive expropriation and the barriers that we set up. If we approve this now and we have second thoughts later, like the city of Canmore has, we're hooped and we'd be hamstringing further council. That's my concern.
Thank you. Veronica, did you want to comment first, Carrie? Guys, and then I'll go to Councillor Coiber.
Sure. Through the mayor, just a clarification of the constructive expropriation. There is no approval on the table for the parcel currently. There is just the DC district that enables a permit for an apartment building to come forward. The conditions of that apartment building under the current DC6 would likely look extraordinarily similar to the conditions placed on a mixed use building should you decide to change it to incorporate the commercial aspect.
Thank you for the clarity. Councillor Coiber.
so I guess the question is, does council feel that the number of restrictions we put on the development permit constitute constructive expropriation?
I don't. Councillor Alday.
I would think that there would be more with a larger, taller unit than with the shorter commercial mix one. So, yeah, I'm not quite following it.
Hazel, comment? No, okay. My only comment is of the two, I would go with the shorter, less dense. That's my only vessel for voting on this. So there you go. And so if we don't have any further comments, I'll let you have yours and then I'm gonna call the vote. I think we're done with debate. So,
Yeah, just for clarity for myself and, so we don't move ahead with this. And the developer wants to go ahead with the residential, like was discussed earlier, that more or less just goes ahead,
and the developer agreement was essentially the
the
same,
same thing.
so it's bigger.
Size.
Well, it does here. It's a big difference.
All right, Heather, I'll ask you if you'd like to comment, and then I'm gonna call the vote.
The general, and then she's speaking.
Oh, no comment.
All right, just keep yourself unmuted. We're just gonna call the vote here. Council, if there's no further comments, we have a motion for the approval of second reading. All in favor?
Aye.
And all opposed? And motion is carried. Thank you. You can mute again now, Heather. Thank you. All right, moving on. 7.2 bylaw 2024-41, waste management bylaw. Let's do a 5-minute recess. We need to go to a third already. Let's go to Veronica. Veronica. Or not Veronica, Verna. I always get that wrong. Sorry.
You can go to third reading if you wish, or provide some other direction.
Oh, there you go. Someone put a motion on the floor if you wish. I jumped the gun. Okay.
Just, let's just drag this out for you. And he. There you go. So,
Yeah.
so you can't feel very.
Okay, staying on, I'm moving on the agenda, 7.2.
Motion to bring this back.
Well, it would just automatically come back.
Like.
They do, sorry if I could, they do not automatically come back. Oh, if we don't have direction, a bylaw can sit, literally sit.
Yeah.
Upon 2 years, they expire.
Heather, you.
I'll give third and final reading.
Okay, Cindy's already made the motion to bring back to the next council meeting.
I'm doing that just because I think we provided the public with a little bit of what the true issue is, as we're comparing the one DC bylaw to this DC bylaw. We're not arguing the facts of whether this should stay vacant or not, because we can't afford to buy it, or would you want to sell it to us by the sounds of it. So I think that just bringing it back to the next meeting so we can all sleep on it, we can hear back from people that listen to the meeting tonight, I think is good. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, so we have a motion to bring back bylaw 2023-31, the textual land use bylaw amendment to the February 7th meeting. All in favor? And that is carried. Thank you, Heather. All right,
Aye.
now I'm going to move on.
Gonna stay a whole meeting.
You. Okay, 7.2 bylaw waste management bylaw 2024-41. Oh my God.
Let's take 5 and then we'll.
5 it is.
I need a break.
5-minute break.
5 minutes.
We are going to reconvene the January 17th meeting at 8:36. We just took a short break there. Short break. We are starting off at 7.2, the bylaw 2024-41 waste management bylaw. It's up here on the whiteboard for everyone to look at. Recycling fees, garbage, and What's the other word?
It's like.
Organics, there you go. So we have a question from Deputy Mayor Kelly, and then we'll get moving.
I'll let.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, we'll make the motion and then have some questions regarding
Sounds good.
what we see. So I will give the first motion, the council will give bylaw 2024-41, the waste management bylaw, its first reading.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna, just a quick question about the tonnage in terms of organics, because that's the biggest increase that we're seeing. Just for public consumption, we're not seeing any changes to the garbage. We're seeing a slight increase to the recycling, which I understand. You see a lot of those recycling bins have been absolutely bulging every week, which is great because we know that the residents are using them. Just some clarity from administration. In terms of the amount of tonnage that's being used, there wasn't anything here indicating how much, because in the winter we do cut it down to every other week. So if we could get, we don't need the information tonight, but potentially, do we have it?
We do not.
We don't.
That
Yeah.
made me say good.
Okay, no, that's okay. If we could just get some clarity, some numbers perhaps from Okotoks about what they've seen in terms of the increase. Would you like a motion for that, Verna, or?
No, I think we can actually build that into our February staff reports at committee of the whole, if that's okay. Regarding just tonnage?
Yeah, and again, just for public consumption, the increase is $3.16 per billing cycle, so every 2 months. Not a massive thing, but again, we want to make sure we're looking at the numbers and we're as clear as possible. Any increase is an increase, and we've been dealing with increases across the board. So just so that the public's aware why it's going up, and part of that conversation is that in the winter months, if the organics go to every other week, so they're picking up less, but they're charging us more. So just looking for clarity there. Thank you.
You're not looking for that answer tonight, right?
No, sir. The cow in committee of the whole, if that's appropriate. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Councillor Kleiber and then Councillor Martin.
Can we add to that data what our previous tonnage was before the 3-stream came into effect? So we could do some quick math and figure out the savings there based on the current tipping fees, which I can do the math. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. Thanks, Verna.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Martin.
Just more of a comment than anything. So our compost fee is our compost base rate is gonna go up by $3.16. Our cycling base rate is gonna go up by another $1.36 or $4.52. But I also see, like, on the Turner Valley side, we used to pay a water and wastewater stabilization fee. We will no longer be paying that. And I think that used to be $3.72 so residents on the Turner Valley side, basically it'll be 80 cents more. Yeah, out of pocket now. Yeah, per billing cycle, yeah.
$4.80 a year.
Yeah, every 2 months.
Very well. Vernon.
Councillor Thompson has to.
Councillor Thompson, go ahead.
Were those fees not included in the water bylaw? Not this bylaw? This is only for the solid waste. And just a quick question, I didn't quite understand or maybe hear it right. I'm sorry, Hazel.
Councillor Thompson, Hazel was just making a comment that there was a reduction in a separate department.
Okay.
And that.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I totally agree. And thank you, Deputy Mayor, for bringing up the wanting to look at some numbers on the organics. We used to get reports like that quarterly, and I think that the contract actually includes receiving those reports from the Okotoks operators. So I'd be interested in seeing not just the organics, but what the recycling's doing, what we're taking off the stress of the landfill that may be causing it to stay flat. So anyway,
Yeah, I think,
that's my comments.
Excellent. We're gonna get that data. I think that's a great point too. I'm sure that the contract does have them reporting quarterly. And we haven't received those in a while, so we'll reinvigorate that conversation and we'll get the other detailed information requested by council as well. That being said, we have a motion on the floor. Are we ready to go forward with this at this point? All right. Councillor Gordon has given us the first reading. Is that right? Yes, good, thank you. Okay, any further debate, discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you. I will give that, thank you, Heather. I will give the council second reading to bylaw 2024-41. Any further debate? Concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
That is carried. Thank you, Heather. Hazel wins.
The council agreed to present bylaw 2024-41 for third reading at this meeting.
Thank you. Debate? Other comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Heather. I needed that for unanimous consent. I will take number 4 from Clover.
Council give bylaw 2024-41 third and final reading.
Thank you. And as before, last chance. Speak. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
And that is carried. Thank you. Thank you, Heather. 7.3, yes, ma'am.
We put into a motion to request. Now, I
Yes.
know you're taking notes, but just
Yep.
in case I
Yep.
wanted this.
I love it.
Yeah,
Voted it.
that council direct administration to provide a full report on the 3 stream recycling tonnage. Just, it's the tonnage, I guess, and, you know, pre 3 stream program and since we've introduced it, I think is what they're looking for.
And current.
My delegation.
No, we don't need to, just,
Information it is. All right,
at the next, yeah.
that's doable. All in favor? That's carried. Yep, good. All right, 7.3 bylaw 2024-42 to amend bylaw 2023-13 council committees bylaw, deputy mayor.
The council give bylaw 2024-42 to amend council committees bylaw 2023-13 first reading.
Thank you, council.
And for those of you who may not have the agenda in front of you, if I may through the chair, this is to provide a terms of reference for our upcoming Traffic Safety Advisory Committee, which came out of some concerns of our residents regarding some unnecessary speeding in the area of the schools, I believe, right? So just to give us that. And so obviously this is just the regulatory work that needs to be done regarding that.
The Traffic Safety Advisory Committee. Councillor Holiday.
Have no problems with this, but linking into our earlier conversation and the fact that we're going to approve the first, hopefully approve the first half project, which will be completed before the pedestrian safety task force gets, or traffic safety task force gets. I am worried about whether we're gonna have the appropriate traffic calming measures, sidewalk, bump out, stop signs, all that figured out for the first step. Because we know there is people speeding on that, that if there's something we can do while we're constructing it, it would be nice to have a plan now. So I know Carrie Senher and Craig are doing it, but I just want to report back to council before they finalize the construction, like tender package. Just so we know that it's been taken care of, that they thought of things. That's, if you're okay with that, it's just something simple that I want to know what they're doing before they do $4 million and then we get to a traffic safety and they say, oh, you guys didn't do this, do that. Right?
Yeah.
So.
Let's also put this on the first item of agenda for the committee as soon as this form. to look at.
The tender and everything's gonna be done way before, yet I know the process of committees, it takes forever to get people figured it out, so.
Gonna go Clover, then you. Okay, I think Clover.
I prefer a motion stating just that the report comes to council before it goes to tender.
So
So that we-
the number 2.
That's thinking out.
That can simply be
Yeah.
a separate motion.
Yeah, I'll take motion in the
In the
capital project, we're gonna approve it as a
Yeah.
capital project, I will ask for a report.
Good call.
Before establishing a committee.
No,
Oh, no, the committee is just gonna go, yeah.
Okay, we'll deal with it at council. Good. Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
We have a motion, yes?
Yep.
Any further debate? All in favor? Second, I will give the council. Thank you. I will give a motion that direct administration to amend bylaw 2024-42. No, I'm just gonna, why would I amend? I'm just giving second reading. Why is that in there? All right, I'm gonna give second reading to bylaw 2024-42. Any further debate? All in favor? And that's
Aye.
carried, thank you. Yeah, to here, ready to present.
The council give second reading, correct?
No, you're,
Oh,
no,
did you just give 3? Sorry. The council agreed to present bylaw 2024-42 for third reading at this time,
thank you.
at this meeting.
All in favor?
And can I ask a question or make a comment here, please?
Yes, you may.
Just a question to admin, through the mayor. How quickly can we start advertising for these members at large, if this bylaw goes forward tonight? Because I think it's gonna be maybe a tough go to get volunteers, hopefully not, but we've been struggling with, getting volunteers to jump on some of these committees, so. Just that quick question.
If we have the necessary staff in the office tomorrow to get the posting out, give it up.
So the answer is ASAP, tomorrow if the staff are there, but early next week, they'll be on it for sure.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you, Verna.
Okay, and I'll take the last one, please. That one's carried. Hazel gives me,
The council agreed to present bylaw 2020,
Next one.
give it, third and final.
pardon me. That council give bylaw 2024-42 third and final reading.
Thank you, and all in favor? And that is carried.
I said aye.
Thank you, Heather. Action items, appointment of Dem and Deputy Dem. Deputy Mayor.
The council appoint Logan, someone help me with that one?
Savary.
Savary.
Oh, nice.
Sorry, I don't want to be. Logan Savary as Director of Emergency Management, Timothy Moore and Grant Spicer as Deputy Director of Emergency Management. All previous appointments are repealed.
Does that satisfy administration? Excellent. Any debate? Councilor Gordon?
No debate, but it is a question about our emergency advisory committee.
Yes.
I'm kind of surprised we didn't have a meeting about this prior, so it would be very good to have that, I don't know if we need to make a motion on that, but, we haven't met in, we haven't met prior to amalgamation, so yeah, that's
I
right.
did mention that to the chief, and I think after we have this appointment, then we have a Dem to actually sit with. So it is on his list. I would take this opportunity to give a massive kudos. I've been trying to get to Monday training night for 6 weeks now, but I'm coaching basketball. at the same time, so I'm always missing them. But our fire departments, led by Chief Moore, have been doing an outstanding job all across the foothills and in our community. And I just like to say, you know, well done. Absolutely well done on all fronts, and keep up all the good work. I couldn't be prouder to see the two departments come together with such unity and community spirit. So yeah, really, really, really well done. Yeah, absolutely.
And they just took advantage of the super cold weather and they were able to pour the rink in the Lions Club.
And they got a grant.
Yeah, and they got the grants and all that. Yeah, so TJ and team continue the good work.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, did we vote?
No.
All in favor?
I,
You nailed it. Thank you, Heather. Request for removal of property tax penalty roll 100,010. I'm gonna go to administration on this one. Verna, what are we looking at here? Hey, council, you can go ahead. I just want to give a little context. All right, let's go. Jenny, Jordan.
Sure, I'll bite the bullet on this one.
Sure.
But in the past, property tax rolls, the manner in which arrears are calculated, penalties are applied, the notification, there is a regulated process that is expected to be followed. I'm confident our administration has followed those procedures. We have a stated policy that they follow. So council's I will follow administration's recommendation here that council direct administration to inform the property owner roll, or pardon me, the property owner for roll number 14010, that the penalty amounts charged will not be credited to their account.
Yep. Sure. All right, we have a motion in front of us. Any debate on that? Seeing none, I'm going to call the question.
Sorry, I didn't put my hand up.
Go
Thank
ahead,
you,
Heather.
Thank you, Councillor Gordon. I agree with that motion. You know, I believe that it's up to, this is a rented property with a property owner that should be taking care of those taxes via their rent. So I totally agree with this moving forward per Councillor Gordon's motion.
Excellent. Thank you, Heather. With that being said, all in favor?
Aye.
Eight point three, request for removal of property tax roll penalty number 619060. Councillor Martin.
First of all, I'd just like to really say thank you to our staff. You know, it was really nice to see in Mr. K's letter of how he appreciated the service he received from the staff. You know, how professional they were and how they were willing to help them. I'm really happy to see that because we do have great front end staff. So it's good to see. And that I will, that council director administration to inform the property owner for rule number 619060 that the penalty amount charged will not be credited to their account.
Thank you. Councillor Haldane.
This one I'm a little confused with because they came into our office in early June. Did we not have, when did everything get sent out? And why would he have not been told exactly when they should have been paid, so it wouldn't have gotten missed? There's some holes here, and I'm not sure if it's because he relied on his daughter, if he didn't get the right information from reception. If you come in at the early June, could they have not pulled up something and said, this is the amount it's going to be and you need it by that time, versus just saying, oh, amalgamation, come back. Like, I didn't like that They're just saying due to amalgamation. Come back later, but no date was set. And I know we don't keep track of like they're not wearing body cameras or reception, but. This one I actually struggle with because they came in and then, I mean, they were 12, 13 days late paying it. They were obviously trying to, so.
If I could respond to that.
Yes, please.
So on the transaction sheet, it shows that the tax notices went out on the 26th of June. So they probably crossed in that period when we were waiting to get them out, but it just hadn't been printed and mailed. That tax notice does go to the gentleman who called on behalf of the resident. And he was out of town when he came in, so he missed it until after he came back. We are going to work with them to make this easier for him with the eGov coming open, as well as the ability to email the tax notices. So we'll try and arrange to help them get set up on that program so that they're not relying on post to make these transactions and assist his family members. So we'll work with him going forward to make that easier. But I think it's just ships crossing in the night there and being waited.
Yes, please, Deputy Mayor.
So just for clarity, they went out on the 26th. And then when were they due? The end of August?
End of June.
Oh, no, September, actually.
I thought it was
No, sorry, August 15th. Sorry, August. I think we did August 28th.
Did a month and a half.
Yeah.
A month and a half deal with.
So we do have a motion on the floor. Councillor Martin has presented. Any further debate? Number 2, same as previous. Any further? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed?
Aye.
And that motion is carried. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, council. All right. Intermunicipal SDAB draft agreement. This is a straightforward compilation of now the Diamond Valley versus the combined Turner Valley and Black Diamond. So this is the subdivision appeal board for anyone who wants to know what SDAB stands for. And I will take a motion from Deputy Mayor.
The council authorized the mayor and CAO to sign the intermunicipal subdivision and development appeal board agreement upon receipt of the final draft and direct administration to provide an ISDAB bylaw for the town of Diamond Valley. No further questions or comments.
Hi,
Thank you. You may.
I would like to thank staff for putting this
Good
together.
catch.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Heather.
Yeah, so I think this is really great. We really struggle in the past, or we have both the Diamond side and the Valley side have really struggled with keeping SDAB members up to date on their training, because they have to be trained and certified now. And also, so having this pool is really great. And so, yeah, thanks to staff. To me, the agreement looks great.
Thank you, Heather. Councillor Martin.
Just one quick question. I was just wondering how many times will the new ISAB meet in a year? Do you know that?
Through the chair, we meet as called. So if we have a hearing that's required within the town of Diamond Valley, we will reach out to folks to provide pool members for us. And that could be once in a year. It could be 7 times.
It's very seldom, is it not?
Historically, yes. Historically, yes. More often as development becomes more robust and grows and there's more the more things that hit planning's plate, the more things that hit SKZ, but historically, we meet very soon.
And what does the acronym ARB stand for?
Assessment Review Board.
And how many times has that been?
As the clerk since 2011, I have not had a hearing.
Oh, okay.
You want on that committee? You make a living off that one, yeah, you're gonna retire now. All right, here we go. We have a motion on the floor.
Yeah.
All in favor? Thank you, and that is carried. I will have
Aye.
my signature. Thank you, Heather. You nailed it. We are at the capital budget. All right, capital budget. We had our brief questions with Mr. Bin. So we pretty much can jump right into this, guys. And yep, absolutely, Deputy Mayor.
So page 161 of 293, that was in relation to the transit vans replacement. Anticipated year 2028. I don't know what to say. Like, I think that this is a great thing for the community. I don't think that the vans that we have are necessarily a need. I think that we could go with a smaller unit if we wanted to consider maintaining some sort of level of transportation for our residents. But the current vans, I said this when we went down this, when Veronica and Heather and I were looking at this, Okotoks sold them for a reason. And they're just too much van, like they're just too much. So I know that we got a good deal on them when we bought them, but I'd like to see them taken off and then we can look at it down the road. I mean, 2028 is a ways down the road. So, and their current use, if they're using them intermittently, the kilometers that they're obtaining are not by any stretch accumulating at a fast clip. So.
Councilor Clever, then Councilor Gordon.
I think we'd be better served using that money to do yet another feasibility study on transit. So, I totally agree.
Councilor Martin.
So, yeah, we'll go historical here on everybody, but that always helps relationships, doesn't it? I have to agree with the advice provided by Deputy Mayor. One main reason is since at the time when this came in, a local was just setting up a taxi service, then this came in and it took away from his options to continue. And since this has been in, a different local has come on board with taxi service as well. That includes quite better options than what this provides. So I think that's something that we really could look at if the need be, providing partnership with our community services needs. And I'm sure our manager is nodding in agreement here. So probably something admin has already considered, but I think there's a much better use of resources that we can pursue at the time in prior to 2028.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you could add in that, it'd be great to see a full report on the actual hours used.
Yeah. Every time I've seen that, underwhelmed doesn't even it doesn't even say that. But just to clarify Councillor Gordon's point, part of the discussion originally that we had in Black Diamond was that High Country Lodge and our seniors were going to be using this service a lot. High Country Lodge has their own vehicle. And so being a part of High Country Lodge and the West Winds group, I've really got to see the inside workings of that. When we do light up Diamond Valley, we don't even use our own town vehicle to support that. High Country Lodge provides their own vehicle. And I've done that now for the past 3 years. So again, part of the original discussion that kind of swayed some of the prior Black Diamond Council, I've seen a little bit more of that, and I'm like, okay, that's not really accurate. So just wanted to back up that point.
Excellent.
Hello.
All right. Yes, Heather, go ahead.
I agree with the conversation. However, I think there's rules that came along with that grant about shutting this down. So that would have to definitely be looked into before we moved in this direction. It's something about those buses. If they're sold, we'll have to maybe give back money, and something about the parking lot. So I think that that would have to be dug into a bit before we move forward with this. So maybe direction for admin to look into it before we move into voting for something like this. And not only does the Lodge have its own bus, but the Rising Sun has its own bus, and so does the Boys and Girls Club. So just a cautionary note. I think there's some restrictions that goes along with that grant funding we got for this.
Yeah, there is. And Deputy Mayor just proposing that we remove the 2028 budget line. And it's a 5-year window. Keep the vans for 5 years, and by then the depreciation value runs out. The government doesn't want any more money back. At that point, we'd probably sell them with 12,000 kilometers on them. 1991 model.
They're really.
Councillor Kloiber, go ahead.
No, you said what I was gonna say. I think we have 2 years left to fulfill our obligation.
Perfect, yeah.
And then I don't think part of the obligation was to put reserve funding away for future replacement.
Those things at this rate will last to 2050, and then Trudeau will come looking for it saying, I need a bus. He'll be driving some electric piece of garbage. Okay, I know, so bad. Just wanted to see if anyone wanted to put in some electric buses in the capital budget. No? Councilor Gordon staring at me like, how dare
Get
you?
off the charging stations.
Okay, moving on, let's get serious, hurry.
Just a reminder that there's lots of things in the 10-year capital budget that probably won't happen if we don't have the money for it. So they're all just placeholder discussions, but I understand taking the buses up just so another future council doesn't actually be like, what the heck are these guys thinking? So, yeah, it's fine. Just doesn't matter. When we get to that year, that's what gets done.
Yeah.
Not what's in the 10-year.
Okay,
So if I may, just point of clarification, we're going into motion stage on the capital budget, right?
Yes, we are.
So Councillor Kloiber, if you want to step in on that road work on First Ave to make sure that the amendment is noted. And
you have.
it is indeed part of it.
Ready for a motion?
Yep, you betcha.
So yes,
The amended.
Clarify.
to, I don't know, you want me to say amend, Irvin? To amend the project description under engineering services from First Avenue Northwest from Third Street to Government Road to First Avenue Northwest / Northeast project, 4A Street to First Avenue Southeast. Does that make sense? There are too many streets and avenues on the Black Diamond side. That's my next motion, to get rid of.
It's missing. It's missing.
Wait, so.
No, it's because Government Road is or Northeast, sorry. Government Road is the the east-west boundary.
Yeah,
So the little stub that goes beyond Government Road is First Avenue Northeast.
very well.
So that's.
You want to make sure it's, maybe I said it will be.
Did you get all that, Vern?
Sorry, I was trying to find the actual wording that's here. I'm having some trouble finding.
Oh, I just have it on this capital budget sheet. Do you want this?
The first,
Oh, it's on.
The real wording here is First Avenue Northwest from Third Street to Government Road.
It should say First Ave Northwest / Northeast from Third Street,
It should say 4th Street.
4A Street.
Yeah. To First.
No, it would be First Street. It's.
Or First Street.
Or A
Street is the corner of Fast Gas.
Yeah.
And the terminus of First Avenue Northeast on Google Maps is incorrect. It would be First Street North.
Is that correct? Am I in the right spot there?
Yeah.
Okay.
On Google Maps, it says second eight. Do you want to just say to the terminus at the far northeast side of?
So the community
Right
gardens.
by the community gardens.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
right where the voting
I
gardens.
can-
Yeah.
Now I know where you're talking.
That's where it is.
Okay, perfect.
Picking up what you're doing. Yeah.
That has to be done. They will get very, very mad.
Yes.
Get all that.
Okay. All right, that's a easy one.
I should do it, so that's a recorded vote on it. We should just like say 5 o'clock. That also is.
I think she's got her nailed down there now. Okay.
We've got resident amendment of removing this and Veronica's amendment, so we could just say as amended. But that's one of the different, that's not in order, the first motion with that.
We don't have two motions on the floor. You didn't make a motion.
I didn't make a motion.
Oh, I thought you was just saying.
No.
To amend this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, one motion at a time.
I'd like for us
We're gonna vote on Veronica's right now.
Yeah.
That was a motion and all approved, or all in favor. There you go, that's carried.
Aye.
Excellent, thank you, Heather. Okay, now let's take your. Nope.
Okay. So,
Remove the buses from.
motion to remove the buses from the 10-year capital
Placement.
replacement. Keep going.
Good, that's all. She's got that, all in favor? That one's gone, good. Okay.
Aye.
Thank you, Heather. What else do we have? Students.
Get back to the motions here.
Yeah. So, yep,
We'll get back to the motions here. So motion number 1, that council authorize the reclassification of the capital reserves by asset class in each department as presented.
excellent. Good. All right, sounds good. Any comments, questions on, that motion? So the council authorized the reclassification of
sorry.
capital reserves by asset class in each department. Go ahead, Heather.
I had a couple questions regarding the reserves. Or grants, whatever is being called.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, never mind. I'm thinking of the next page. Sorry.
Okay, sounds good. So we have a motion on the table. Number 1 in the proposed options, Heather, if you're looking at your screen. All in favor? That's carried.
Aye.
Thank you.
Up to 3.
Yeah.
The council directs administration to authorize the 2024 capital budget and approve the 10-year capital plan as amended. Yep.
You. Everybody clear on that? We made our amendments.
Yep.
Now we're looking to move it forward.
That's awesome.
Okay, all in favor? That's
Aye.
carried. Thank you. So that's our big one, guys, is that big structure project. Councilor Holday.
Yeah, I just want to make the motion that council provides a report on traffic calming measures planned for the First Avenue capital project before it's tendered.
Vern, I thought you learned shorthand.
That's the one thing I failed.
All right, her pen stopped moving. As discussed prior, motion by Councilor Holday. What's it again?
Traffic calming.
Traffic calming, rebuilt road. There you go. Just want to make sure we got that right. Okay, excellent. All in favor? Oh, perfect. That's carried.
Aye.
Audit is done. Thank you, Heather. Moving on, 9.1 audit is complete. 9.2 Diamond Valley Administration Office Feasibility Study, Deputy Mayor.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion that we bring this report to the CAP so that we can have a bigger discussion on it.
Yes.
Fantastic report. I read through the majority of it in its entirety. Quick summary just for the gallery. we had the previous Black Diamond town office assessed, as well as this building assessed, just to see where we were with in standing of what would be the best location to have a permanent long-term town office. We're looking at about, I think the number was about 3.8 million to do this building, while it was closer to 2.3 million for the Black Diamond office. So we'll bring this back to the COW in February, and that's the motion I'd like to make so we can have a bigger discussion about it.
Excellent. Councillor Holiday.
The one thing that we did talk that wasn't in the scope of this was the real estate appraisal.
Yes.
And I think before we can actually have really good conversations, we have to have the information. So I would like to make the motion to have real estate appraisals.
Let's vote on his first and then you can make that.
Okay. The question is that you might not get the appraisals done in time for the February counts. My only issue.
So we're still gonna start like right away. Go ahead.
If I could just get a clarification on that, do you want like an official appraisal or would you just like a realtor's
Realtor assessment.
ballpark
Okay.
kind of thing?
That would save us the money if we just get some ballparks.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, just kidding. That's all we did.
Yeah, we don't need official. We
I
need,
thought we had asked for that when we asked for this assessment.
We did.
yeah, we did. But it wasn't an emotion, so now we, okay. And it's not the scope of work of these types of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had talked about lots, but we need to.
Yeah, we're gonna vote on yours. So moving to the COW. All in favor?
Aye.
That's scary. Thank you, Heather. Cindy, go ahead.
For a ballpark real estate best values, current real estate assessed values.
Sorry, was that both?
Prior
both
to-
houses?
COW meeting.
Prior to the calendar. To be presented. That might.
That's doable. That's very doable.
Could I ask a question? Do we?
Yes, ma'am,
still
go ahead.
Do we still have our land sale purchasing policy in place? That would be.
I
on
wanna
the
say yes.
Turner Valley side.
It's based.
And it probably
Secret.
is in effect because it would be considered a legal document. I'm not sure, Verna. So it lays out the process of doing all this, including the assessment, et cetera, or appraisal. So anyway, just a thought.
Something we could use, administration could use, I shouldn't say we, just as the guiding document to get these numbers for us for Cal. For sure.
Yeah.
It's just a ballpark.
Yeah, this is.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. All in favor? That's carried.
Aye.
Thank you, Heather. Okay, what do we got? Disco. Disco Steve. Admin inquiries. So Verna says she's got answers for everything. I would ask you to paraphrase them down and make them clear and concise. All right, starting off from Councillor Hazel Martin. If you could read the question and then the answer, that'd be great.
I could. So I've got a couple here. So the first one is from Councilor Martin on regarding closed crossing. Has council given any thought to the potential, has administration or council given any thought to the potential doubling of the population of Polk Crossing development? What the impact will be on emergency services like fire, RCMP, CBOs, doctors and hospitals? So I had Ms. Florzone provide me with some information on that, as this is kind of her bailiwick. So I'll just very quickly give you what she said here. Council approved in terms of reference for the Polk Crossing conceptual scheme on April 21, 2021, under which the developer must demonstrate the relationship between the development and community facilities, institutional uses, school sites, and student generation projection, and the impact on municipal fiscal capacity. The developer Quantum Place has hired an external consultant, Nichols Applied Management, Inc., to conduct a municipal fiscal impact assessment. The object is to understand if and how the new community will contribute to the town's revenues and impact the cost of municipal service provision. Nichols has been provided with relevant data for their study, including having conducted 6 interviews with key municipal staff over the past month, including emergency management, fire, municipal enforcement, parks and rec, public works, finance, and planning. The results of the municipal fiscal impact assessment will be provided to the town, and feedback will be incorporated into the Coles Crossing conceptual scheme. Regarding the RCMP, the town of Diamond Valley is currently evaluating options. Urban municipalities with populations over 5,000 have 3 options for providing police services in their community: contract with federal or provincial government or other municipality, establish a standalone municipal police service, or establish a regional police service. Council is responsible for making a decision and allocating the appropriate budget by the end of 2024 for that service. The Oilfields General Hospital is a provincially owned and operated institution under AHS. Once completed, the town will formally circulate the proposal to AHS for comment, since healthcare is provided under provincial jurisdiction and responsibility. The town is responsible for circulating the Coles Crossing conceptual scheme for comment to external agencies, including but not limited to Foothills School Division, Christ the Redeemer Catholic School Division, Public Utility Service Providers, Foothills County, RCMP, and Alberta Transportation.
Can I get a copy of that?
Can I email it to you?
Yes,
Perfect.
thank you.
Question number 2 from Councillor Martin. Resident asked for information on what Shrek charges to the town for water. Additionally, what does the town add on to Shrek charges to cover such things as distribution, wages, insurance, and other expenses? Currently, Shrek charges a consumptive rate of 97 cents without fixed charges per 1 cubic meter of water to the town. The town's full cost per cubic meter is calculated using all expenses less the transfer to reserves, divided by the volume of metered water used by the town. It is higher than the cost charged to the town, as it includes other expenses for distribution, including wages, repairs, and contracted services.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Question 3 was a utility rate review. Resident asked, why has administration opted for various pipe sizes instead of standardized size for all meters? Are there any specific reasons or constraints for this decision of the various pipe sizes? Charging fixed fees based on meter size allows the rates to be applied in a more equitable fashion. Fees based on meter size reflect the capacity of the system allotted to each premises and the type, residential or non-residential. The meter size indicates the flow capacity available to each location and reflects the potential demand. Each premises pays 1 fixed rate per meter regardless of the number of units. A larger meter size indicates that a larger demand to the infrastructure is available, and the fixed fees represent this demand to the water and wastewater systems.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. The other question was, when are we getting the assessment of the 2 buildings? You got it?
Yeah.
And question number 5 was about EV charges revenue. Asking for a report on the funds collected from each EV charging station in town and the operating costs for each of these. So I've got a little bit of a chart here, and I'm not sure what the locations are. The stations are numbered, and I apologize. I just noticed that today. The EV charges revenue so far for 2023, the revenue is $884.79. The yearly fixed expenses are $2,526, plus the approximate electricity cost of $120 for the time charge. And so roughly breaking them out, the revenue per station, the highest one is $84.39 and the lowest one is $2.86. So they range.
And do you know which time of year did the town collect those funds?
I don't have that. The breakdown is not that thorough.
Okay.
No,
No, it's like $73 a month. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you very
Councillor
much.
Gordon's inquiry, please.
I forgot the right ones. Oh, yeah, sorry. Councillor Gordon's question. Bring that up here for you. I didn't print it because I didn't actually have a written answer. The basic one for this question regarding the possibility of conversations with Fish and Wildlife. If council wishes to direct us to begin those conversations, we will do so.
So,
Okay, well. Do you want to, have a discussion on that, Councillor Gordon?
Not at this time. The last 2 years, we've had multiple cougar sightings and several deer carcasses. I think this is I would like to have a conversation sooner rather than later, so that we're not playing catch up like our community east of us who have really struggled with the amount of deer habituated in town. This comes to conversations about enforcement, making sure that our property responsibility bylaw, where it is illegal to feed deer. Can I say that again? It is illegal to feed wildlife. Maybe 3 times. It is illegal to feed wildlife. And yeah, dropping a bag of bird feed to feed your wildlife that inhabit your backyard is illegal. I don't know how else to say it. And not a big fan of going down the path of enforcement, but if we need to, then so be it.
I'm sorry, what did you say about bird seed?
Dropping a bag of bird seed
Yeah.
on the ground and splitting it open is illegal.
Oh, it's illegal.
It's illegal.
Yes, yes.
And it doesn't help our population. So I just, we need to be serious about this, obviously, because we'll be playing catch up. So if it is a opportunity to call, if we need to, so be it. Easy prey attracts predators that are not necessarily healthy, and that's not a good sign. Habituated deer, when you walk by a beautiful 6-point buck and you can rub his nose, that's not necessarily a good thing, especially in the mating seasons or the rutting season. So there's, I don't know where to go with this, but seriously, I don't know where council wants to do. Is it the right time to do a conversation with a call? Open that door? It might be, so that we're not playing catch up.
Here, Councillor Clover, and then I have comment for sure.
Wait, I would like to have this conversation, but the general rule of thumb is you don't talk about snow removal policy in winter. And deer are more prevalent in town at this time of year, so I'd like to have it sort of May, June.
Sounds good.
When they move out, sort of, they move into the fields in surrounding territory for, yeah, and in the summer, there's more to eat in the fields. There's more to eat in town.
Like between.
Well, yeah, so I'm not saying they aren't in town in the summer, they're not as prevalent in town in the summer.
If I could actually counter that, because in our community, we have deer that are much more prevalent in the summer, this past summer, than in past summers. They've become very habituated. And I can only assume, based on comments I've seen in our wonderful social media platform of Facebook, that there are residents who actually take joy in feeding the animals that come up to their back window. So what are they going to do if you're not home? They're going to enjoy the petunias, as Councillor Martin said, which my mom, with her flower garden, loved so much this summer.
To argue that point, because it's fun. If you provide any sort of vegetation in your front accessible yard, you are feeding the deer.
True.
Or they come in your backyard.
Well, that you should have a 6-foot fence around.
So my comment is this, my comment is this, when I moved here in 2007, we built our house. I always wanted a garden. We built the garden because we had kids and I wanted to teach them how to plant carrots and harvest and whole 9 yards. And deer did not eat any of our carrots or any of our peas, nothing. And we did not fence it. You cannot do that in this town right now. And that is a matter of 15 years and we are overrun. And I do my job shooting them outside in the MD and making them into sausage, but you can't do that in town. So I think this is totally the time that we might even be already later than we should have. Maybe we should have been doing this even earlier, but let's definitely have it. We're not the same as Okotoks. The fact that we have the wild lands directly around us. They have 30,000+ people and they still have them living in town. So we need to do something about it now. I do not like cougars coming into town. I tolerated as much Facebook asking for pictures, and then when it was proven with pictures, that really puts it in perspective. They are hunters, they will take a kid, they'll take your dog, no problem. Right, Bright Creek, exactly, 3, 4 dogs. So let's get that conversation started. Let's get the communication to Fish and Wildlife, and tell them that we wanna start taking action and get something done. And plain and simple. So, nope, Councillor Gordon brought it forward. I think you make a motion and we'll support it.
Yeah, I'll direct, the council directs administration to begin preliminary conversations with our Fish and Wildlife about potentially culling the deer in town and if that's a viable option.
What does culling look like?
Well, the reality, Councillor Martin asked a great question, potentially, and this is part of the conversation, right?
Location.
There are some communities that in their deeds have put in certain measures that cause the deer to be infertile. I don't know if that's an option or not. I don't know if that's working. The studies I've read, it doesn't seem to work very much. So culling would be choosing to provide a euthanization of certain deer in the community.
The city of Kimberley, they've used traps and people have destroyed the traps.
Well, we've got a motion. Cindy,
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you would consider not using the word cull in it. There's other measures as far as increasing hunting licenses in the area.
that'd be part of that discussion. right?
Yeah.
What options?
I'll make a friendly amendment and remove the word
Yeah.
to manage the
Yeah, options.
options
Yeah,
that
provide
available.
options.
to reduce the deer population in Emmett.
Yeah, because the mere fact of the matter, like we have grazing animals, horses, sheep. And if you have a nicely mowed lawn versus grass, like waist high, they will go for the nicely mowed lawn over the big tall grass. It's just how they are. They love freshly mowed. Animals, it's better grass. So it's not even just the.
I understand.
Yeah, they're coming in. But culling, I think, is probably farther than of what half of our residents would want. So I think we need to look at other options. But we have people, because they think that we're in the county, that are asked, come to our door asking if we can hunt, they can hunt all the time. So I don't know if it's just a general, we could ask some of the neighboring farmers if they're willing to let more people come, because there's tons of people that want to hunt in Calgary and they don't have access to land around her and do it. That is, of course, up to the landowners, but I don't know if there's anything we can do to have more tags in the area and land or farmers willing to let people on and so.
How come I want to say with Bob Parker, we used to always say at the end of The Price is Right, have your pets spayed and neutered. I mean, that's, sorry. Controlling animal population, just my mind went there, sorry.
All right, here we go. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Heather. Excellent. And all opposed?
Yeah, I'm opposed.
All right, good. We got one opposer.
Yeah, that's okay. I think that our CPO should be down on this before we start.
Yeah,
I think it's the
that'd be
enforcement piece for
part of that too, I think, yeah.
I think.
Yeah, good compliment. Okay, moving on, we have committees, boards, correspondence, Foothills Regional Services Commission minutes for November 27th. Hazel?
That motion as for information.
Thank you. All in favor? You, Sheep River Library minutes, November 9th, 2023.
I'll give you that as well for council's information.
Excellent. Any comments? All in favor? Thank you.
The landfill is looking to build a new shop.
Oh,
Yeah, we're getting closer to that. So,
holy,
yeah, numbers have come in a lot more than what we thought. So
nice.
anyhow,
Good.
we'll keep people updated.
Excellent. Western Regional Services Commission minutes of meetings held on June 28th, August 16th, September 21st, October 25th, November 22nd of 2023. I'll give you a motion to accept all of those. We had a meeting today, this morning. Just to give everyone a heads up, we're moving ahead. March 1st is still the start date for CDM to get in and put in our sewage upgrade, which is $19 million, right? So it's a big upgrade for the town and it's gonna be a fantastic way forward. So it's gonna cost us. We're still looking at the debenture costs and trying to finalize those, but we do have a new grant application in that we're hoping we can have some discussions with provincial counterparts to maybe get an answer from Merge. So that would be our
nice.
idea.
There will be closures of the dog park area with the netting and all that coming up that there were.
Yeah. So we're well ahead of that as well, being in March. So yeah, so good. So I'll give you a motion to accept all those. All in favor?
Right.
And then we have a
And
correspondence.
thank you, Veronica, for attending for me.
Very welcome, Heather.
We have correspondence, Minister Rebecca Schultz, Environment and Protection Areas. And, yep, go ahead.
We have to do something about this, like not right this second and not. But, you know, we have to discuss. Yeah.
The drought.
Water, drought, restrictions, huge.
Yeah, we did. So
Just ignore it. Whatever.
are we gonna have a cow, put it on the cow as well?
Not this one.
No.
I think this,
It's a full day, it's 8 hours.
this, well, the biggest thing you hear when people talk about Colts, ask about Colts Crossing is, what about water, right? And then drought, all this information, there's so much that goes into this. That I would really. I would like to have a meeting on this, probably once our new CAO starts, March.
Yep.
Like, I really do think we need to have a few more CAL meetings, getting up to speed, strategic planning. We only have not less than 2 years on our term.
Yep.
So can we consider another CAL in March? All right, beginning of March, second Tuesday. Like we can motion. Okay.
Also,
And-
if I could comment here.
Include this.
If I could.
Yes, go ahead,
comment,
Heather.
Frank. I think also like to having our DM involved in this is really great as well. So should be involved in this conversation as well. So that's my comment. And yes, I agree with the committee of the whole meeting in March.
Yeah, excellent.
March 12th is the second.
March 12th,
Second Tuesday, that's traditionally when they've been.
what time?
Different. I always get.
I might be at,
No, you're in the month for
next we've got the, Ashland convention, which is fine, it's okay.
Yeah.
We could do the 5th.
Yeah, I can check right now, well, I can check.
When's the start date?
March 1.
Keep it much.
Yeah, he's gonna come in on the 16th for handover. The 12th be good. Check your Asher.
Oh, yeah, it's the 12th.
Start.
Yeah, no, it's 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th.
Oh, it's a convention. You could like zoom in though.
Oh, yeah, full day, it's convention, I can zoom in for a Grand Cow meeting for 4 hours.
Yeah.
No commitment, because I might be at dinner somewhere.
March 26th would be the other option. We have MPC to be.
19. I would love for them to send out those. That's a long.
Or the Wednesday. Yeah, we could do the Wednesdays.
I could do the Wednesday, I'm back that night. Yeah,
Wednesday's a good one.
Wednesday's 13th.
Let's do that. Yeah.
Okay, we'll put that in the motion. Okay, we're gonna make a motion for Cal to be March 13th at what time?
6 o'clock. Including Rebecca Schultz is letter.
For a letter, and then whatever we forward from the February discussion. Also on that agenda, put down strategic priorities discussion. Oh, sorry, yes,
We have a motion.
let's just vote on that first. Town meeting, March 13th, 6 PM here, all in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Cindy?
Mine.
Thank you, Heather. So strategic priorities could be on that agenda, just to make a side note, Vernon, please. Okay, and, what does, MacGyver got to say?
Just about funding. I think, was it?
3-year property tax holiday, new wells, pipelines. This tax holiday will end. We will come after your well money. That's it. Okay, with that being said,
Do you want to motion this? No, we don't need. one.
don't need one. We are adjourned. Thanks for sticking it out, guys.